Then you apply for chiropractic college, and when you get in, if you do get in, it's usually mine was, wow, it has been a long time. Mine was 10 trimesters. So what does that come out to? It was almost 4 years. Yeah. So, but it's straight through. It's not, you get no break. So it's year round. So it's trimester, which, the equivalent is quite substantial. So
that's a marathon, brother.
Oh, it is. And as a matter of fact, just for all you know, that if you want to go to chiropractic college, it's great, but they make you take 36 credit hours every semester. So you remember that 12 is full time. So just go ahead and triple that and think that through. It was fun, but you had no life. So yeah, after graduating from there, I went out to Dallas, and I had I tried 3 clinics, and it was great and it was fun, but it just wasn't what needed to be done. And I was out there for about 11 years. And
did you think it was a mistake?
I don't think it was a mistake. I just think I was broken. How about that? I don't know. As we go through this journey, whatever this is called, we don't really know where we need to be until... I don't know how to explain it. Being out there was great, but I'll tell you, Dr. Paul called me up one day, and it was out of the blue because I was probably in the dumps, just for the fact that, it wasn't like the practices were failing. They were doing great. I was fine. I had great patients. It just was not the right thing. Yeah, and I think I was in Dallas. I was at the point where it just wasn't. It wasn't not working. It was working. It just wasn't where I needed to be. I mean, you could be fulfilled wherever you're at as long as you're happy where you're at. And
it just wasn't happening fast enough.
Yeah, well, I don't know about fast. I guess, 11 years. I mean, that's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul called me up and he goes, "Hey, you want to come out?" And it was almost like it just hit me. Yes. And I literally closed everything up, and within 6 months I was in Florida. So, I mean, it was that fast. My wife wasn't happy, but, it's okay. She's here.
Still together.
Yeah. So it was a challenge, and it's been a challenge. So, after we got out here, being with Paul, like I said, we were best friends from high school. So it wasn't a hard thing to say yes. I guess the hard thing was to
convince the wife and pack up.
It wasn't that hard.
Really?
Yeah, I think she knew too. And this is it's funny at that time. This is at a time when I was running the sound department, the video department at the church where I was at, where I had to play. So I was playing the drums in the back with the iPad and computer, running the sound from back there, and that was a blast. And then to just get up and have to go, and I did it. And I guess I've been kind of that way my whole life, where I think this drives my wife nuts, is when I see something, that's why I wrote down here vision. When I see something and I know what it looks like, I can get there. It's when I don't see something, that's when I run. So I think that's what happened in Dallas, is I didn't see my vision or my purpose, so I had to go to where it was. So then I came. And it's been great with Dr. Paul. The other 2x4 upside the head you want to talk about was last April, when basically, I was I don't know how to stress this, but I was told, you're not in the right place and you need to go. Which, as you know, there it's a fun place. I mean, that place is it's not a job. You go there to have fun. It's the first place I've been to. It's wonderful. I guess what happened to me is I was put in touch with a company called Maximize Living, and they offered me a way to go open a practice so I can spread more of what I do. And it came true. Like you said earlier, we talked about this. I think when you're on a right direction, you get more, I don't know what it's called, distractions or just little pecks at you. Just constantly, just everything. So I don't know what has happened in the past 90 days. I mean, it's been a blur, but I'll tell you, it has been the most challenging thing I've done in quite some time. And I'm talking
you mentioned the word humility.
Yeah. Oh boy, it's
That's a fun test in itself.
Yeah. They really made me, I guess, see inward and how self-destructing one can be. I had a professor in college tell me one time. He said, this was at Logan College, in Chesterfield, chiropractic college, by the way. There was a professor there. He was a psychologist, and he knew me like he just irritated the tar out of me. And right before I graduated, he pulled me into his room and he goes, "All right, you're a doctor now." He's like, "But what I see in you is that you're self-destructive and you're your worst enemy. And if you don't figure this out, you're not going to make it." Mm. And I was like,
"Wow,
thank you for that. And what do I do with that?" And, it's funny is in hearing that, and for the past, 15 years now, he's absolutely correct. I mean, it is amazing how, like I wrote down here, the negative thoughts. We as a human nature, we are a very negative people, and when you wake up, you're always second guessing yourself. So, you have to talk to yourself in a positive manner. You have to have that vision. So going back to that vision is, I think God gave me a vision that I needed to go somewhere and spread what I do, because it's not about me. It's about how I can help. The only way I know how to help is through, what I do with chiropractic, because I believe that it's the new, healthcare system. I do. I have no doubt. Our healthcare and what we're doing now it's not working. And I think that is inherently the problem with health and wellness and how people are sick and people are dying every day, and they don't need to. You were hurt. You don't need to. Mm-mm. Yeah. So it just, in something as natural and as easy as we do, it's amazing how well it works. So I don't understand it, even though I went through all the school, but it is just phenomenal how you can put your hand on somebody and boom, you're healed. And it's so, what you don't understand is, you've never been to one of our pre-huddles, but I mean, we pray, today, God, work my hands the way you want them to. Do whatever you need me to do. And that's funny you say that. So we prayed it, bam. I was like, okay. Went out and helped people. And then I get a call that the baby was just born. One of my patients, the baby was just born. And they wanted me to come over and adjust him because she couldn't bring the baby in. And I was like, absolutely. So, yeah, that right there gives me more.
Mm-hmm. That's Dr. Matt, for sure. And you were saying something before we started, too. Wasn't it your son?
Yeah, that's a hard one. My wife and I decided to have kids, and we got twins, which was great. Basically, yeah, this is a hard one. So this is one of the things I had to go through with my training down in Naples for the past 90 days, is to figure out what they call your big why. What are you doing? Why are you doing what you do? And it's not that we all have one big why. It's that what drives you. What makes you, how do I put this? What makes you want to get up in the morning and go do what you do every day? That's important. We had twins, and we went to, my wife was at the, doing her checkup. They were doing an ultrasound, and they were checking it, and they noticed that the blood supply to my son was about 80% less than going to my daughter. They said, okay, we're going to pull him. Well, you got to understand, he's 8 weeks premature, so that's very young. So when they went in, they said, okay, that's enough, bam, we're going to go in, take him. They took him, and they were born, and basically both of them were not developed enough to handle. Yeah, so they, my daughter, she was crying, so we knew everything was going to be quasi-okay. But my son, he wasn't breathing. He wasn't crying. He wasn't doing anything. So they took him up to the the NICU, what they call the NICU, and started working on him, had him hooked up to, heart monitors and, blood, not blood, but lung pumps, things like that, and to keep him alive. And, yeah, so it was pretty depressing. And, we didn't really know, between the two of them, I mean, they both were, but Robert was definitely a little bit worse. He was about the size of my fist when he was born. So, and my fist is, about 5-6 inches. So he was, I think he was, my wife's going to kill me, I'm sorry. But I think it was like 3.4 pounds. He was very small. Things weren't working too well with him. So And I don't truly know if the doctors weren't telling us everything what was going on. So like I said, it's more dramatic when you say that he was born dead, but he wasn't. He was just born not able to. So they took him up there, and there was one time when I just knew that I had to do something. I had no clue why the doctors weren't looking, the nurses weren't looking. I just went up there and adjusted him. I mean, like almost immediately, things just calmed down, and he started breathing, and heart rate was starting to go normal. So, I think at that moment I knew, that was, yeah. And the really neat thing about that is I wish I had a picture to show you, but he's now running marathons, which, yeah, he's 11 tomorrow, by the way. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to your son and daughter.
Yeah, sorry, Adrian, you're there too. So, yeah, it's pretty amazing how this, and what's funny is ever since that point, I've just been attracted to kids. Kids come to me, and I get to adjust them, and it's been a blast. I mean, at Dr. Pohl's office, I can't tell you how many newborns I have adjusted. As a matter of fact, shout out to Winnie Palmer Hospital for putting me on the blacklist, so I can't go in there and adjust kids anymore. But that's okay. I know how to get in there. My name is John. Yeah, and I think that's one of those 2x4s upside the head that just really made me realize that.
I would think that point, you've already, your son is 11 years old, and it sounds like you were doing school back 15 years ago, or just finishing school
2000, yeah.
15 years ago, 14 years ago. What you learned, like Trish just said, if at all, that would have been confirmation to me that you did the right thing, because you were able to do that for your son.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. See, I don't know how to. What do you mean? I don't understand. You want me to do what?
Yeah. And you got your first test of humility when you said you went down there.
Yeah. I don't recommend Naples right now. So yeah, it was pretty tough. I had to relearn what we're trying to do. Here's my vision, and then I'll explain it. My vision is to get to as many people as I can, put my hand on as many people as I can to get them from dying from our medical system. Period. Our medical system has proven that they failed. It's just they have more money. I can't do anything, but the only thing I can do is get me out there, and that's what I have. As a matter of fact, every time I do my doctor's report, at the very end, I plead to people. I said, look, how many people are in this room? Maybe a dozen. I was like, this is how I get to people. So without you and telling other people, how am I supposed to help them help themselves? So I need your testimony to say, hey, this helped me, help somebody else. So with chiropractic, we're trying to, with Maximize Living, we're trying to standardize. We're trying to make it a real quality care and not water it down. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. With that, I would say it is evolving, and we're trying to make care more known of what can be done. Well, here's the thing. We it's funny, and that's great, but that word treat is almost like, well, we really don't treat anything. And I think I explained that to you, hopefully, is that what I'm doing is I'm putting your body back to a normal position so it can heal itself. Mm-hmm. So we're not really treating ADHD or asthma or headaches or any of those. We're actually treating what's called subluxation of the spine. And then when we do that, that's when so that's called innate intelligence. So the innate intelligence can express itself as normal as it can be. So yeah, so it's not that we don't, like for instance, I had a patient that came in who had epilepsy within the doctor's report I showed you. It's not the fact that we're treating the epilepsy, it's the fact that we knew that the control of that came from the spinal cord and the brain. Mm-hmm. And if you take the pressure off that brain and spinal cord and make sure it runs correctly, and not only did the person feel better, but guess what? Epilepsy was gone. So yeah, so you take that pressure off, and it's not the fact that we're saying, hey, we're going to treat your low back pain or your neck. Well, actually, we're going to treat this, and then your body will express it normally. And I think that's my vision and my purpose. So that's why I wrote that down here, and I wanted to, make sure I expressed that well. I don't know if I did.
Okay, well, that's fine. And you're also an acupuncturist.
I am on my side life, yeah.
Your side life.
My wife always tells me, she's like, man, you just do too many things, please. Yeah. So